Welcome. We have been working on AI for last year 2024, and identified some of the areas as really critical for the companies to adapt and adapt AI. So one of the main important area to everybody needs to know is AI readiness and maturity for AI in the company organization wise. Right? And I'm thrilled to introduce my good friends and experts in the AI space who have hands-on experience and who will be sharing their insights on how organizations can effectively adapt and scale AI. Please join me to welcome Srini Pichala, Maruti Utla, and Ranganath Atmakuri. Thank you all for being here. Um, Let me pick off that what the topic we're talking about, right? So most of everybody's talking about AI implementation, right? But one step, if we take a pause and step back and understand what is really need for AI in a companies to implement these things is having something, making sure like we are ready or able to, where we stand to implement AI. That's like AI readiness and maturity. So let me start with that basic topic, and for us to understand the concept, I would like to ask Srini, could you explain what AI readiness and maturity is in meaning and why it is so important?
Yeah, absolutely, Ramesh, and thanks for organizing this. See, AI readiness is and maturity refer to how prepared an organization is to implement AI successfully and also scale it up to meet their goals, their objectives. It's just not about having a technology or tools or data scientists. It's about ensuring that the AI initiatives align with the organization's goals, organization's values, and their operational processes. Um, and without this readiness, obviously there will be the AI initiatives can potentially fail because they're not properly aligned, and they also have poor data. Because of pure data, the decision could be really bad as well. So what the good maturity assessment in terms of readiness assesses is that is it strategically aligned? Is there a data quality? Is the infrastructure enough? And do we have the right skills and culture? Right? That's how this AI readiness and maturity works.
So thanks, Srini, for explaining it in simple terms. So the preparation is everything here, right? When it comes to AI. Now let's move on to understanding the stages that involve for AI maturity, right? With that, Maruti, would you walk through us the different stages of AI maturity and why, and what they typically, what is that involved, in these stages?
Yeah, definitely, Ramesh. So, like with any maturity, right? So most of the organizations that want to have higher state of maturity, so they generally go it in various stages. So likewise, even for AI maturity, so we have 5 stages, and this is what is most widely accepted within the industry as well. So even Gartner suggests these 5 stages of maturity. Of course, people name it in different ways, but for simplicity, the way I would really name these 5 key stages are: first one is awareness, second active, third operational, fourth systemic, and fifth one is transformational. So let me take a minute to explain each one of them. So basically in the awareness stage, so the organizations just try to learn about AI, what it could do, and explore its potential applications for use within the organization. So that's what they do in the early stage. In second stage, active, so the organization move to the next level, so wherein they try to do some pilot projects and experiment with AI using limited use cases or what they feel the potentially high value use case for them. So once this is done, in the next stage, operational, so the organization will have a clearly defined strategy for themselves, and they start deploying their AI applications into production environment. So that's what they do in this operational maturity. So when we move on to the next stage, which is systemic, so here the AI gets integrated into most of the commonly used workflows within the organization. So here, from this stage onwards, the value capture becomes more important, and organizations try to derive significant value from each of the AI initiatives that they do. And the last stage, what we call it as transformational, so wherein here the organizations would have a good amount of knowledge of AI, how to implement it, how to deploy it, and how to derive value out of it. So in this stage, the core idea would be to use AI as a driver of innovation, and it should be present within all business operations. So everything the organization does. So they start with AI, thinking how they could leverage AI for their competitive advantage and innovation as well. So as we could clearly see, right, all these different stages, they build upon one another. So the previous stage acting as a foundation for the next step.
Okay. So thanks, Marty, for clearly explaining as in a structured approach and breaking down. Now, like now we have an, stages. Now we're talking about the dimensions, right? Um, uh, okay. Uh, Ranga, what are these key dimensions for organizations should be enhance their AI maturity?
A good question, Ramesh. There are four areas that I would say are extremely critical to focus on. Uh, the first and foremost is you need to ensure, or the organizations need to ensure, that their AI objectives meet the business goals that they have within the organization, which I would call as strategic alignment. And the next most critical aspect is data, where they have to have clean, complete, and unbiased data. And infrastructure is extremely important, building scalable tools and systems to support AI workflows. And of course, people, where you need to have a skilled team, develop them as you go up the ladder with respect to maturity, and foster a culture open to innovation.
Wonderful, Maruti. Wonderful, Ranga. Sorry. So these are like four pillars, like
Yeah.
alignment, data, infrastructure, and talent and the culture, right? Um, so that's very insightful, Ranga. So speaking of this alignment, right? And let's discuss about initiatives that can tie to the business goals of an organization, specific to the AI initiatives. So with that, Srini, coming back to you, can you share some of your views on the strategic alignment for AI initiatives for an organization's business goals?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we spoke about it a couple of times, right? Aligning these AI initiatives, AI goals, AI projects around the business roadmap, or we want to call it as business objectives, right? So the key is that, okay, when we initiate this, how is it going to impact how is it going to positively impact your business goals, your objectives, your financial goals or operational goals? That's very, very important to tie them. Then to get an attention required, to get the support required, and then be awareness across the organization so that the necessary resources can be, drive towards that. The second aspect is how do you reach there is obviously you need to kind of evaluate the cost and benefit to reach that goal, right? So if I'm spending on this AI initiative, both the effort as well as you throw a lot of financial resources at it, then do you get the real benefit? Is it giving significant push either in terms of reaching out easily or in terms of achieving that? And the third one, which AI brings compared to the traditional IT projects, is the risk. That is because you depend on the data, and if your data based on your data, if you have to evaluate whether this data is any biased or inaccurate, if and unless you do that, there is always a huge risk that can actually result in a bad decisions given by AI, which can, both reputationally and compliance wise, it can impact the companies, right? So measuring this alignment again is very important, as I said, and it can be done multiple ways. So see every initiative, how many number of initiatives we run across are directly tied to your organizational goals. That's one way to do it. And also the ROI, as we spoke about, measure the ROI, and then kind of what are the efficiency gains, what are the productivity, I mean, what are the incremental revenue I getting, those kind of things, and evaluate in that way, and then see. And that's how we can say if it is not really contributing, then you take out of your alignment there, and that say I don't need this initiative, don't do it for the sake of it. So that's how you come up conclude it.
Thanks, Srini. I know you personally involved in the AI project, so thanks for your practical advice. So I know, like, setting up the, even though you're expecting the outcomes, and also you should have, like, proper guardrails to set it up for the outcome of this, any initiative, because still it's maturing and still everybody's learning, and having like a proper guardrails is equally important. Thanks for highlighting that one, Srini. Right now, let's talk about that role of stakeholders in this AI maturity. The preparedness and achieving this one. So, Maruti, why is stakeholders engagement is very vital for AI maturity journey? Can you just share your thought on that?
Yeah, sure, Ramesh. See, the way I would put it is, say, as Srini has mentioned, right? So aligning AI with business goals is extremely critical. So if you say that's the talk, the stakeholder engagement is like walking the talk. So most organizations, if they have to ensure any of their initiative is successful, the key is involving stakeholders across various functions. So that's one. So when you involve stakeholders, it indirectly communicates two things. One is it is definitely a key organizational priority. And second one, okay, it is a collaborative exercise among various functions within the organization. And third, it fosters trust. So, so these three things indirectly it communicates to the entire organization. And to engage these stakeholders effectively, right? So we also need to ensure that whatever are the goals, business goals that we are setting forth, they need to be communicated clearly across the organization and articulated enough. Okay, you need to ensure that in this initiative you have a diverse team. So what I mean by that is you have team members coming from various functions, right? So as you just mentioned now, guardrails is very important. So if you have to have guardrails, so you need to have people from process team, security team, plus the business team, and also like the delivery unit. So these diverse teams need to be engaged. And last and most important aspect is, so when you have various stakeholders involved, right? Whatever success that you get on the initial pilot projects, okay, so that gets circulated very well across the various business units, and each business unit will try to grab more value from these initiatives. So I feel that that's how the stakeholder engagement really helps this.
Thanks, Mati. That makes a lot of sense. Stakeholder engagement is undoubtedly this like a very important and a cornerstone of any successful implementation of AI project. So now let's switch our gaze and focus on data and infrastructure requirement. Right. With that, Ranga, what are the data and infrastructure essentials for organizations at different stage of AI maturity?
So we spoke about data and infrastructure as one of the key focus areas, right? So definitely it's a critical topic where at a foundational level, I would say organizations need basic cloud platforms. They have to have clean and structured data. And as they progress or move up the value chain, it's important that they have a scalable infrastructure to handle large data sets. And they also need to have advanced platforms for real-time data processing, strong security measures to protect data integrity and privacy. And also, it's important to have contextually relevant data to derive meaningful insights.
Wonderful, Ranga. Yeah, data is very, very critical. Without data, probably there is no haze. And some of the things somebody mentioned, like, data is like, heart, and AI is like a brain. So without, this coordination, probably cannot function well. Yes, this is quite critical. Thanks, Ranga. And also now let's now talking about the next one is called like talent. Let's talk about the discuss how to build the right talent. Srini, finally, how can organizations address this talent, AI talent needs, Srini?
Yeah. So it's an important ingredient, right? As you mentioned. So for the AI initiative, so one when you initiate, I mean, when you are initiating the AI projects, or you have the idea, then the first thing to do is, okay, identify the skill gaps, right? What is that I need? I may have some people here and there sitting, doing data science or doing engineering, but you need to holistically look at what am I lacking in to have a successful implementation of AI and then scale up as well, right? So look at it, identify the gaps, and then you have to do either, two, three things, right? One is, okay, in some areas you probably have to go hire externally, and that's the only way you can do it for the long term. And those are the skills that are not easy to build. You just need to get it from the market, or and then the second aspect is identify all the people who are, have deep knowledge in domain as well as applications, who can provide valuable insights, and cross skill them or upskill them, rather, into AI. So their contributions will continue and they will be actually AI enabled skills, right? That's one way. And that actually reduces the gap. And then the third one is partner with AI experts and academia, right? Institutions, depending on how large of these AI initiatives are. And partnering with the right people will always get you quickly. And not only that, and you also gain a lot of skills and knowledge through the partner. So ultimately, what you need to do is balance the technical skills with the domain skills and with with the business people, analytical skills as well, which will kind of balance for this. And it's very, very important to have both domain and technical skills for the AI projects. So that's how you approach the talent. And of course, the culture part is obviously, as we spoke multiple times, aligning with the right business will and educating them, communicating them frequently will definitely bring the culture up, and that's very, very important to build that culture where people embrace AI.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic advice, Srini. Yes, talent is truly makes a difference. With that, I'm just concluding it. A huge thank you to all our wonderful speakers and experts. Thanks to Srini, Maruti, and Ranga for sharing your valuable insights on AI readiness and maturity. And remember, success in AI is not just about the technology, it is about the strategy, collaboration, and continuous learning.
Right.
Thank you once, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank you. Thanks, Ramesh.